Hello there YouTube, Mr. Gibson Guy here. Thank you for stopping by the channel. If you are new and haven't been here before, please make sure that you click the subscribe and the like buttons there down below. This is a channel which covers a lot of subjects, but mainly I've been doing videos on vintage film camera gear. And today is a very big one because I've had several videos so far on putting together this collection of equipment here, and today I have it all finished, as you can see here. This is a Mamiya 645 outfit, and I'm going to tell you which pieces I have in it, what I paid for them, and what I can remember, and how it fits in with this. Now, I haven't cut any foam yet. Now I'm just kind of piecing every piece together to see where it's gonna be. Some of them, like this film, doesn't fit, but it's stuff that would be in here also. I'm going to show you all this stuff because there's more than just a camera and a lens here. Okay, I have this is a 5-pack film, Fuji 120 film, color negative film. There's a couple of these in here. Oh, I should show you up close. Fuji. This box here opens up somehow this way. Or it doesn't open up. There. Okay. And you can see in here, this is a film holder. On the Mamiya 645 system, you have these things. You put your film in the top part, and then this empty spool on the bottom part, and then you take this, there it is, now it's the right way around, and you put it inside the back of the camera, and that's how you put in film and take out film. And I have one in the camera and another one in the box, snapped in there. Those are important. I have just a couple of auxiliaries here. This is a spare rear lens cap and a spare front lens cap. And I have here, and we got to talk about also, a grid focusing screen. You can see that here. Now the grid focusing screen goes in here. We take the camera, take this and push it, and then you have the camera body, and here is the focusing screen. See that? And you pop it back in there, and then it's ready to go. Yes, this one is the grid. This one is the microprism. Here, you can see it here. Maybe that'll focus. All right. Now, let me talk about what we got here. To start with, this is the show you here, the 645 1000S. This was the top of the line for the 645 series from Mamiya, and I'll go through all of it. I got this to start out with. I bought the camera with a film holder. You see, you just saw one of those. This one is a 120. Use the 220, you can get an extra exposure on the roll. But this is the camera body, and it's a professional camera, so it has all kinds of stuff that goes with it. You can kind of customize the camera to what you want. Now the first thing I showed you is what popped off here, and this is a non-metered waist level viewfinder. I can do this with any of my Nikons that are the Pro Series cameras that you can take the pentaprism off, but this one is better than that because when you open it to look down into the camera, you can see it has blinds all around it, so when you're looking in there, the picture is not obstructed by all the glare from the outside light. And also it has this, hey, see that snappy thing that popped up? That is a magnifier. So you hold the camera right up to your eye, and you can see magnified what's going to be your picture. You can find focus with that. This is great if you want to put it on a tripod, or if you have the specific Mamiya mount camera strap, you can suspend the strap from there and let the strap hold the camera up, and then you can just concentrate on your picture taking. The last thing I'm going to, or not the last thing, but the one thing I'm going to mention about this also is that the waist level finder was originally designed as like an economy thing. They made 3 of these cameras: the 645 1000S, the 645, and the 645J junior model, which was kind of the stripped down, a little bit smaller, less features. And you bought the camera without the finder. The finder was separate. Here we go. See here, you can see the actual screen there. We looked at that. But when you do it like this, you can hardly see because of all the glare from the outside world. So that's why you have to have this on it. Or they also had this part. When I got this one, it was missing. There's a little plastic eyepiece here, and this is called a speed finder, and you look through like this, and then you can see exactly where the center of the picture is, and that's going to be where you want to take your picture. But this is not really more of an action camera. It's more of a contemplative camera. You're going to work on your pictures for a while. And my observation now is that this finder was the cheapest one you could get. Now it's the most expensive on the used market, and it's really hard to find because everybody's getting them. I think the reason is because if you look at the camera with the waist level finder on it, the profile of it and everything, it makes it look just like it's a Hasselblad, because that's how they do it, is with the waist level finder. So I think that's kind of added to the popularity of this camera, is it's a budget-priced medium format film camera, which gives you a lot of options and a whole lot of available lenses, as we'll see, at a really reasonable price. So if you want to get into a larger negative and you want to not spend too much money and be able to have some versatility with some different parts, that's where this camera really comes in. You can easily spend $3,000 or $4,000 on a Hasselblad and a lens, and you have this much of it. That's it. But let me keep going here. All right, so the camera, as I described it, not with this finder, but with this PD finder. This is a metered finder. It has a silicone photodiode light meter built into it. Put this here. With that, and they said it wasn't working, but it ended up to be working if you just set it up right. So it's been fine for me, and I got this whole thing for 140, I don't know, 141, 147, 140. I think it was 41, but under $150, I got the camera and the metered finder. Now, this finder, if you look at them now, they're usually not very expensive, but a lot of them don't work. But if you get one that works, then you have your best light meter. There was the basic metered finder, which was the CDS finder, which had a cadmium sulfide light meter in it. And then there was the auto exposure finder, which was like this, had the same CDS cadmium sulfide light meter built into the pentaprism, but it had automatic exposure where you set the aperture and the camera will electronically select the shutter speed because it's aperture priority. So this one, you manually set the shutter speed going by the metering that you get inside the viewfinder. And this one had this silicone photodiode, which was the most accurate and most expensive meter. So this was the top of the line. So I got that meter with this camera body. Then later, I bought this waist level finder. And I really like the waist level finder. If you don't mind not having a light meter with you, if you have another camera or you want to do Sunny 16 or just guess at your exposure, this is a great way to go. Also, with the basic 80mm lens, with this viewfinder and with this camera body, you have an actually relatively light setup. This is not much heavier than a normal 35mm, although it's got a lot of aluminum and a lot of brass and a lot of glass, a lot of stuff going on in here. It's really pretty light until you start putting on heavier finders, heavier lenses, and other stuff. I didn't get the drive. They even have a motor drive you can put on this, but at the price of 120 film, I'm not going to bother with spray and pray with this. It's going to be very evaluative before I press the shutter button. Right, now the other thing was this, at this point. This is the regular lens. Now, on a 50mm or 35mm camera, your normal lens is going to be a 50mm. On a 645 format, 80mm is the standard lens. This is equivalent to a 50 in a 35mm, and I'm going to give you equivalents on each of these lenses so you know. But you see, this is like an old Nikon where it has the stirrup and post that sends to the meter what your aperture setting is. A little pin sticks through there and it reads from the angle here. And we have regular focus here. This focus is a little bit stiff, but it works. And there's two lenses that are 80mm, the standard lens. This one is the least expensive. This is the 80mm f2.8, and there is also an 80mm f1.9, which would be one full stop faster than the f2.8. So, because a 1.9 is kind of like an f2 to f2.8 is one full stop of light, so it lets twice as much light in as this one does. It's also going to start about $400 or $500, and it's going to be a lot heavier. This one is real light, and that's one of the things when you look at medium format cameras, they tend to be really heavy. So this gives you a relatively not heavy camera. Let's see, where did I put that? And that, and the cover on them. Put that there. This lens here, this was the first lens that I got. This is another Mamiya lens. This is the 210mm f f4. See that right there? Yeah, 210 millimeter. This one has an extendable hood on it and a lot of focus. This one goes up to from f4 to f22. It's an f20. Oh, maybe it's an f30. Yeah, f32. So I can get a pretty small aperture out of this if I'm using fast film. But this is the telephoto, and single focal length. There is a couple of zooms that you can get for this camera too, and that was something very, very rarely seen in medium format photography. Not one, but two different model zooms that they had to fit this camera. They're also kind of slow, so at 5.6 or slower. So, and they're not really expensive, but I don't think they really give you, I don't think that they're going to be as good as a fixed focal length lens like this one is. The 210 millimeter, and I've tested this with cameras, looking at them across the room and seeing how many guitars I fit in the picture. This is the same equivalent length as a 135 millimeter lens is to 35 millimeter photography. So this is 135 is kind of a short telephoto, long short telephoto. It's telephoto, but it's not up there with the 200s and stuff like that. And I was thinking about adding a 150 also, which is going to be around the 85 to 90 millimeter. If you look at it in 35 millimeter frame, I found this one. I don't remember the price. I think it was $75 or something like that. It was really reasonably priced, and I grabbed that because getting Mamiya lens is usually pretty expensive. But I've been trying to do this on not a real big budget. So I was thinking about keeping the 210 and then adding a 150 f3.5, which is a little bit faster than this. And like I said, it's equivalent to about an 85 millimeter in 35 millimeter lenses. But I don't think that's going to happen because a couple of reasons as I've been looking over this. One is that this is a pretty good case, but this equipment tends to get kind of heavy. And I could see real quickly where putting in another lens, you were going to get it really heavy. And when it's really heavy, it stretches your arm. You're not going to haul it around very much. This is a good way to travel. You want to keep your equipment safe because it's going to have all this foam. The foam hasn't been cut yet. I just got the last piece in, so I was figuring out how I wanted to park everything in here, where I want to put it before I cut the foam. But the other thing is you only have so much room between your pieces, and you don't want to cut it so there's just a little strip of styrofoam from this to this. You want to leave it with like at least an inch, I would say, very minimum, so it can move a little bit in its spot but still not infringe on the area of the other pieces here. The body, I can cut through 2 layers of foam and it'll fit all the way in there. I'll probably cut through 1.5 layers. This I only cut through the first layer. This one will go first layer. This one will go first layer. This one will go first layer and maybe a little bit into the second layer. But it'll keep space between each piece, so you don't want to right on top of each other, because then it's going to be coming loose and everything banging into each other and rattling around in there. You want to have enough room that each piece fits in to its cutout and isn't going to come loose. And I'd rather have less pieces than have as much stuff as possible crammed in there, and the stuff's all getting banged up against each other. Now this last one, I skipped this one. One thing, what I was going to say, the 80mm f2.8. I found this for $199, and I looked at it, and you can do this thing on eBay if you check out something, but you don't buy it. It can report to the seller that you are interested and say, hey, you want to give them a lower price? And it was $199, and so it got down to, I think, $187 or something like that. And for the 80mm lens. And this is by far the most likely lens that you're going to be using on this camera. It's the lightest lens, it's the regular normal focal length, and it's makes it the smallest package that you've got to carry around, and the lightest. So you're going to like this lens. I've spent more on this than I did on the telephoto, or I would have spent on the other telephoto that I'm not getting. But this is worth it because it really gets the use. This one was really inexpensive, but I can't imagine that it's going to get a whole lot of pictures taken through it. If I get to some place that's real scenic and I want to take some vistas and stuff and put some, center on one little particular spot, I could start using this, but I doubt that it's going to get a lot of use. I have normal telephoto, and then this one is the wide angle. So 187, 75, camera body 141 with the finder. This finder I got was kind of expensive. I think I got it, but it was on sale. The guy offered me another price. It was $150, and he marked it down to $141. And then I thought, I just got to have it. It's going to be great because I want to have that waist level. And then this one is probably the final piece of the puzzle here. I don't think I'm going to be adding any more. I'm going to go and use this as it is. This is my wide angle. And there's 3 different wide angles for this camera. There is the 55, the 45, and the 35. And this particular one is the 45. See that? 145 right here. And there we go. The 645 1000S has a depth of field preview button, but all of the Mamiya lenses have an auto or manual, which means it's a depth of field preview button built into the lens. This is like the way that Olympus does it, and the regular button is the way most cameras do it. So if you get a 1000S, you get a depth of field preview button, but on the other cameras you can preview depth of field just the same. Just turn your aperture ring and your auto manual setting, and that'll do it. This one has a great big front element here, and that's part of what made me decide. I looked at, actually I ordered a 55 that I had a really good price on. It was like $140, and I was real excited about it, but then I got it and the lens didn't work. It wouldn't focus. The focusing ring would turn, but the lens would get shorter and longer, and it wasn't internal focusing. So I tried that and it didn't work, and I returned it, and then I was kind of disappointed because I thought, oh man, I got my wide angle, I'll have the whole setup, but then I had to send it back. And I looked around because I have a collection of caps, lens caps, and body caps, and all that stuff. And I had bought from Goodwill Finds a couple of years back, and it was a big plastic bag full of these plastic caps, and in it had this a body cap and a lens cap. And this lens cap is an unusual one because it is 77 millimeters. When I ordered this 45, it came with a generic cap, but I have the regular 77 millimeter cap to go on it. So I thought, you know what, I need to get the 45 millimeter because that's the one that takes the 77 millimeter cap. And I got one, and it's going to look cool in there because all the other ones are just generic things. I like the ones that say Mamiya on it. Makes it look kind of professional looking like that. So this lens, it was another one that was a deal. These were all the 45s are real popular. It's pretty cool lens, pretty valuable, but these are all going for over 300. And that's like, oh boy, that's more than most everything else put together. So 300. That's a bit, but I scrolled through a long way, and I went through several pages of listings, and I looked a number of times, and finally one popped out at me that just came up, a new listing, and they wanted $250 for it. So I looked at it, clicked off, and clicked on, clicked off, click on, so I got some attention there. And sure enough, a few days later, I get a message from a seller, and they want to sell it for, I forget, $240. It was they knocked a few dollars off of it, and so I think it included shipping. So all I had to do was pay the tax, and with the tax charge on it, I still ended up getting it for under $250, and that just arrived. And I'm really proud of this one. This is a really cool looking lens. The 45, the best I can figure it mathematically is it's somewhere around equivalent of a 28 millimeter in 35 millimeter format, and it is an f2.8. So I have an f2.8 in the 45 and an f2.8 on the 80. So those are, f2.8 is very fast for medium format apertures because you're going to have a big lens to get that. And that 80 millimeter f1.9, big lens, big price, but they're popular. People want to have it. It's a nice lens, and it's really very unusual to find a medium format that'll give you that. All right, did I go through everything? I showed you the focusing screen. I should. I'll leave it with this. I'm going to swap these prisms here. This is the eye level viewfinder. Push a button in, and it comes out. And this is the metered finder. See, there's the pin that lines up with the lens, and you click this onto the back, and there, it snaps into place, and you're all ready to go. And you can see this thing is hanging down here. So I'll use this, and red spot, red dot, line up the red dots until the lens falls into place, and there you go. Then with that, you look in the viewfinder in the back, and it's a regular SLR, not a waist level finder. So that's the whole setup there that I have. I got to start cutting some foam, Well, I don't think I need to get another lens for it because that 210 ought to do any need for telephoto that I have. And I want to get out there and get doing some shooting with this camera. What do you think? You thought about going to a medium format? You can get some really, really nice pictures with that. I've had two Yashica Mat 124Gs back in the old days, and I had a Pentax 6x7, which is even a larger format than this, and that goes through film even faster. But this 645 just seems like the ideal kit because there's so much flexibility with it, so many things you can do, and it's a really awesome camera. I guess I had it off camera there while I was doing that. All right, so tell me what you think about it. You want to get one? Think about what way you would like to set it up. Until the next time, this is Mr. Gibson Guy, and I'll see you later.